Hello, hello, and welcome to the Hiram Connection with your hosts, Unique
and Janice, where tonight we're going to be talking about never giving up on your dream.
Janice, as you know, I love sharing definitions with our listening audience, and I'd like to share the definition that I looked up for dream. It is defined as a cherished aspiration, ambition, or ideal. And I thought that was prevalent to what we're going to be talking about this evening. Growing up and even into adulthood, we all have certain dreams that we like to see come to fruition. And granted, some of those dreams, I think as life changes and shifts, they tend to change and shift as well. Mm-hmm. But you still have those things that you hold close to your heart that you want to accomplish and see become a reality during your lifetime. Right. For example, I'll share that two of my dreams was to become a professional singer as well as a fiction author. And many folks might not know, but I did sing semi-professionally for a while with a group out of Atlanta, Georgia. And we got the opportunity to travel and open up for some very well-known gospel artists. And to be able to experience that, I think that was just something beyond my wildest dreams. Because even though, growing up, you have these thoughts, but to actually be able to be doing it, that's something else. And even though that chapter of my life closed as far as the singing, writing never left. Like I've shared in previous podcasts or a select few of them, I've always loved to keep journals. I've always written poems or songs that I liked. Thought, just whatever was in my head, I actually, wrote it down and stuff. So to become a published author, that has been just so fulfilling and exciting to me because once again, it was one of those dreams that I've always held close to my heart. Mm-hmm. And so to see it come to fruition, I think that was just amazing. And just not only the full-length novel, but just even the poetry books and the inspirational book before that. Mm-hmm. So can you share a little bit with our audience, Janice, about, one or two of the dreams that you've had?
Well, Mom always used to say, to keep the things that you're working on very close to you. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm going to do for now. Because, got some things that's going on in the works right now.
Gotcha.
But what I will speak on is that, as we walk through life, you're going to fall down many times. And I'm going to get there, so just be patient where I'm going. And you fail and you make those mistakes. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. You got to keep in mind that life is a process of becoming.
Right.
Everything that you go through in life, every situation that you find yourself in, every word that you say, every interaction that you have with someone, and every action that you take, those steps and that process, you're meant to discover more and more about yourself. Mm-hmm. It's more about that inner journey, what your life path is going to become, and the purpose and the meaning of your life. We're all here for a reason, and each and every one of us has a purpose to fulfill in life, I feel.
Yes.
And with that, we all have this unique contribution to make this world just awesome, make it great. Mm-hmm. And the more we let go of our fears and those excuses and those limitations that we can put on ourselves, and especially the limitations that we allow other people to put on us.
Right, to put you in that box.
Right. Mm-hmm. It's easier for us to contribute and do the work that we're here to do. Mm-hmm. And it's easier for us to go forward with those dreams that we have. And it's easier for us to push forward to make those dreams come true. We have to constantly remind ourselves of this so that we can reclaim that power and we can make that happen. Mm-hmm. You can't allow your fears, your doubts, excuses, limitations, other people, all those things get in the way of what your life is supposed to be and how you are dreaming and how you are meant to be living. You never give up on yourself and you never give up on your dreams.
Right. And that's a very powerful statement. I'll be authentic and open. Just being labeled sometimes, and we'll say as you're growing up, and people having and we'll say family members. We won't just even say people. Just, family
people
members.
too.
No, I know. But I'm just saying bring it more close to home so that our audience can try to relate to what I'm about to say. To have those individuals say, well, you can't do this, or you're not going to be this, or so on and so forth, or you're dreaming too big. You need to just.
Well, I'm gonna elaborate. I don't mean to cut you off,
No,
but
that's fine.
like we're from South Bronx, right? So
yes,
when we're in South Bronx, it's like that big melting pot. We have a little bit of everybody. There's all kind of cultures, all kind of whichever. Right. We see and experience so many things. There's black, there's white, there's Puerto Rican, there's Asian, there's everybody,
right?
And everybody is friends with everybody. And when you're little and you're growing up, there's like you don't look at color, you don't look at race, you don't look at nationality, you just look at a community.
Right.
Because that is what we have. And then remember when moving down south, the crazy the crazy thing about that is that that's where I felt that a lot of those limitations that you started speaking on happened, because a lot of our family members, who are people too, a lot of those family members, the only experience they had was that experience of the South. And still, that segregated South, which breed that mentality that you can only go this far, or what people allowed you to go to. And so since that is all that they knew, when you came with the big ideas of, remember you doing plays in New York, and you playing instruments in New York, and you're doing all of these things. And I remember hearing, being still the youngest of the bunch, was when you had questioned, well, why don't we have those type of activities here?
Right.
And some of the things that were said to you in my presence was, well, why do you need to do that for? We don't do that here. And so that's just that small example of those limitations that everyone can put on you. People, family, can put on you, because you had a dream of being, I remember, oh gosh, what did you want to do? You used to dance all the time, to sing all the time. I used to be like, would you please stop? But
don't be telling my trade secrets.
But that's what you wanted to do. I remember you wanted to be in some form of entertainment, henceforth, being the singer and whichever else. I remember, you being that, what do they call it? The I don't know what the terminology is, like for being what is it? Being a singer, dancer, and actor.
Triple threat.
There you go. See, I don't even know. I don't want to do all that. Right. But being that triple threat, that's what you always wanted to do. Or in some form of, I would say.
Right.
And so I just remember hearing that seed of negativity where, oh no, you can't do that. We don't do that. That's not what we do here. And it was such a dramatic difference of environment and that mental consciousness in which people will turn around and feed what they know, quote unquote, onto you. They put their limitations onto you.
Right. And that can stifle your dreams. And being young and impressionable. Yes. Thank you. At that time, that took an effect on me, and I'll be real honest about that, because, like you shared, just being in New York, and I was doing the drama, in junior high school. I was playing the steel drums, the clarinet, the piano, you name it. I was getting involved in it because we had those things to do, and as well as the singing, whether it was in chorus or whatever the case was. And then to go from that to go down south at the time, because it was not very advanced. I think they've come a long way since then, when we moved, like in the 80s or so.
Don't be telling that.
No, but it's just, that was it was a huge culture shock. And then it also just made me feel like, okay, well, maybe I can't do that anymore, or maybe I'm not meant to do that anymore. And not making excuses, but it's just making a point of, when we're talking about never giving up on those dreams, and just when you're faced with a brick wall is what I felt at the time. It's just that kind of, it never sank the desire, but I think it just kind of changed my perspective on things. Mm-hmm. So, and that probably was a lot, ladies and gents, but, I just felt like where the conversation was going for this first half of the podcast, that was important to share, and to be authentic, because I'm pretty sure that I'm not the only one that has probably dealt with anything like that or have experienced that, and then it's like now years later, it's like, there's still those dreams and aspirations. And this time around, because of being seasoned and having those experiences, now I know and I'm at it. And it doesn't matter to me what age you're at. If the desire and the dreams are still there and the means of you can see it, you can do it.
Well, all right now.
So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back to talk more about never giving up on your dreams. Hello, and welcome back to the second half of the Hiram Connection with your hosts, Unique
and Janice, where tonight we're talking about never giving up on your dreams. So when we're thinking about our dreams and fulfilling our dreams, do you have any tips or any knowledge that you would like to share?
I would, and I'm glad you asked. So 3 essential tips that I would like to share personally. I would say number 1, first and foremost, know your why or whys. What do I mean by that? It's why are you trying to reach whatever that ultimate dream or those dreams are? Money. Right. Is it financial freedom? Is it a better life for your family? It's just basically personalize that why or those whys. And once you pinpoint that, I think that is essentially the first step to it all. Mm-hmm. The second thing I would say is stay focused. Write down whatever that dream or those dreams are. For example, keep a journal and you want to visualize. So whether you have a vision board or you have like what do they call the books where you have the picture books in them? It's kind of similar to a vision board, but it's like just pictures or
well, you can do any type of version of a vision board. They have Pinterest vision boards and Facebook vision boards. Put it in front of you so you can look at it and you can strive for it.
Right. Yep. Write it down, make it plain, visualize. And then the third thing I would say is be consistent. You set those daily, those weekly, those monthly, or even annual goals and you stick to them. You may run into at times where life, of course, if we're working on a 8 to 5, 9 to 6, whatever the hours are, your day job as you're trying to pursue your dream or your dreams. Right. And you may have some things that may shift, but you don't ever not utilize, some type of consistency. Gotcha. So whatever you have to do to get that second wind, whether it's an hour or even at a minimum 30 minutes or whatever, how many times a week or so, you just make sure that you stick to a plan, whether you have to write a business plan, whether you're setting up a website, in blogging, whatever it is. You just be consistent because small gains are gains. Remember that. Don't worry about you not having like this major accomplishment because you'll see the small things that you do, they will definitely be effective.
They add up.
Yes.
Those things add up.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to share, that you're never too old to dream. You know, age doesn't mean anything because, this one sitting by me, she's, and so, and I'm, and you remember when we were little and you always had these dreams and aspirations and, you were fearless. There were no boundaries when you were so much younger. That's because when you stop chasing your dreams, you lose that creativity.
Right.
And you don't want to lose that creativity, and you don't want to forget what it is to have something to strive for. You feel alive. You feel hopeful. That type of, that feeling that you have, you never want to lose it.
Right.
So age is nothing but a number. I also feel that, you know what, it's better to try and fail than to wonder what could have been.
Say that again.
It is better to try and fail than to wonder what might have been. And the reason why I say that is because, regret is a terrible thing. It is a beast. And a dream is powerful enough to bring you regret if you don't take the chance on it and you don't at least follow it.
Right.
Have you ever had that feeling of regret when trying something in your life? And that feeling of wondering what could have been, so many years down the road.
Right.
Because you just didn't go for it. And how do you avoid feeling that regret? You just gotta try it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Take that leap. Yep.
And it doesn't have to be something big. It doesn't have to be something humongous. You just have to sit down, make that plan that you talked about earlier. Those small steps that you will achieve, it'll take you in the right direction. And that's all that it is. That little by little, that little engine that could keep on puffing, keep on churning, keep on chucking, and, continue towards your goals, like you said earlier. You know what? Just lastly, I want to share, your dreams don't have any limit. The reason being because you're the one who created them. Whether or not they're big or small. And when you understand that, you're able to design your way. You're able to weave your way to favor your plan, because at the end, you'll be able to accomplish your own goals.
Yeah. And that is such great advice. Well, ladies and gents, we've reached the end of our podcast tonight. We'd like to thank you for tuning in and for your continued support. We appreciate each and every one of you.
And as we always say,
real sisters,
real talk.
Bye. The Hiram Connection is all over social media. We are currently on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. We would like to thank those who are already following us and encourage those who are getting to know us through this podcast to connect with us, because we are very interactive on social media.